Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome back again. I'm sorry for the break in transmission. First of all, thank you very much. Shout outs to Ayodeji. Thank you very much for letting me know that there are the volume of the mic is not audible. So I had to go off to do some adjustments into um, the audio settings, and I hope by now things are working quite fine. I can hear myself quite well from the headphones. I'm not sure if you can hear me on the other side. Please let me know in the comment section if you can hear me and you can see my screen, as this will help me to confirm that we are both on the same page. So let me know in the comment section if the audio and the visuals are quite okay. I await your response. I await your feedbacks. They are highly appreciated. All right. So I have to restart all over again what I just said. So where do I kickstart from? So let's just talk about. Let's go into the economic calendar. And like I was saying, like we always do, we normally check the economic calendar to keep tabs with the fundamental aspect of the market, as we all know that the fundamental factors often manifest on the charts in technical patterns and price movement. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and, of course, specific technical patterns. And this also helps us to better time ourselves in such a way that we can catch potential trading opportunity ahead, during, or even after this event. And after discussing this, I went on to share with you the economic calendar, and I was able to come up with one data coming from the US economic docket, and that is the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. This is a very high impact event that majority in the market will also be looking forward to, and it's a survey released by the University of Michigan, and it conveys the personal consumer confidence in the economic activity of the US economy. It shows a picture of whether or not consumers are willing to spend money, and generally speaking, a high reading is considered to be a positive indicator for the US economy, hereby inciting a bullish expectation for the US dollar, while a low reading is considered to be a negative indicator for the US economy. And from the previous data we had here, we had 64.4, and we have a general consensus projecting 65.5. So there is a little bit of positivity in the here as regards to the consumer spending in the US economy. So we are going to be looking forward to what the actual data is going to be like. Will it be as expected, below expectation, or even beyond expectation? And of course, what we are going to be doing here in this community is to ensure that we are able to identify patterns and structures that we are going to be using to guide and manage our existing position on all the USD pairs that we have been monitoring so far this week. So I can see a comment here. Richard Blackett says it is slightly scratchy, but it's getting better. Okay, thank you very much, Richard. Good morning to you. Glad to have you around. I will try and do some adjustment to that one. Okay. So I will just reduce my preferences. All right, so let's see how this works out. If it's okay, let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section if it's okay. All right, so with that being said here, we shall be diving right into the chart to look at things from a technical standpoint. But before we go, I also want to emphasize the fact that today is the last trading day of the week, and we all know how this day is when it comes to price action movement. And one peculiar thing about Fridays or last trading days of the month or of the week is that majority participants in the market who are already taking advantage of a significant move in price movement will of course want to be doing some profit taking activity ahead of the weekend. And as a result of this profit taking activity, there is a tendency for us to see reversal patterns, change in price momentum, which will dovetail to price action moving in the opposite direction of where price of the proud leading price action. So we are going to be taking note of this expectations too as well. We are going to be considering this bias too while we review the current market structure. So with that being said here, let's dive right back into the chart. And please let me know in the comment section if the sound is still distorted. I would really appreciate that so that we can all have a better experience out here. So the first instrument on our watch list for today is of course the USOilSPOT. And on the USOilSPOT, we have had a very profitable week so far, as we have been buying this commodity despite the couple of losses we incurred at the beginning of the week. If you remember vividly, we had some losses at this point. We bought at this area where price action went into stop loss. We also sold around here. It also went into stop loss. But one significant thing that we noticed on Monday was how sellers continue to struggle around that $73 area. And for the fact that we saw this, we begin to anticipate that this could likely be a platform for a bullish move to the upside. And in order to help us guide our trading activity on Monday, we decided to use two trend lines to guide our moves. And one of the trend lines here is this ascending trend line, which has been respected since the beginning of the week. And of course, we had the descending trend line, which we waited for the breakout retest of that structure to signal a move to the upside. Sorry about that. Okay, so in as much as we have this structure marked out, we decided that as long as price remain above this ascending trend line, we will have no other choice than to continue to look out for buying opportunities in this market. And this was exactly what happened on Tuesday morning, as we saw the breakout retest of that structure. And since then, we have been buying the USOilSPOT. We of course rode that move all the way to the upside here, giving us over, I think, close to 400 pips on the multiple entries that we had on this commodity. So for those who have been part of this profitable journey, well done to you. Congratulations to you for being on standby and being patient enough to stay tuned to this course on this trade. So well done, guys. And at this point in time, if you still have a buy position running at this juncture, then I would advise you that you want to be moving your stop losses accordingly. As you all know how we do it in this community, we want to ensure that we secure the current position we are having. We don't want to lose out on this one. And of course, while we're trying to secure our positions, we want to give room for price action to breathe too. And with this in mind, I'm of the opinion that our stop losses should be around that entry zone. The last entry zone here had the $75.90 level. Of course, we've been profitable this week, and we can still afford to give a wider range of stop loss to allow price action to breathe. And at this point in time, with our positions well secured, what is going to be our next line of action for today. So for today's trading session, we have a very simple range where price action is currently trading since the later part of the New York session yesterday. Though we had this bullish move, as you can see here, and as soon as price action tested the $77.20 zone, we begin to see selling pressure resume in this market. But I'm still of the opinion that this could be a retracement of that impulsive move we witnessed here in the last 24 hours. And considering the fact that price action still sits above our ascending trend lines, remember that we had an ascending trend line identified here yesterday. If you remember vividly, we connected some series of higher lows here, giving us that ascending trend line we have on that screen. And then we also have another one, which is the major trend line, which initiated this bullish platform at the beginning of the week. Now, with this situation we have here, it's still quite reasonable for us to continue to look out for buying opportunity. Now, one of the things I'm going to be looking out for here for today is how price action will be reacting to this ascending trend line. So if price gets into the structure, I want to see some couple of buy pressure around this area on my lower time frame. It could come in the form of a double bottom structure or any form of reversal pattern, and I want to continue to see buy pressure resume. Then we have our neckline breakout retest to inside another wave of bullish momentum. And remember, we already have a buy stop order sitting above the $77.20 level to capture and maximize the potential of this bullish move. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity above this trend line, we should also take into consideration the potentials that the sellers to have around this area. So while we are trying to look out for buying pressure above this ascending trend line, we could see a situation where price could break down that level. But if it does break down that level, we are not going to be jumping into a sell position unless you are a scalper or a short-term trader, because we still have a bust up here, which is that major ascending trend line which actually incited that bullish momentum we've been enjoying so far this week. So price still has a tendency of inciting another wave of bullish momentum if price action comes into that major trend line. So here is the most important confluence here. If price action ever gets into this area, then we are going to wait patiently and see how price action will react to that structure to decide what our next course of action will be. So one of the things we are going to be looking at around that area is if reversal pattern resumes around this level, like double bottom structures, then we could get ready for another wave of bullish momentum, and that simply means that price action is respecting that trend line one more time. However, if price action drops below the ascending trend line, then at this point we will start considering selling the USOilSPOT. But remember, we are not going to be getting too excited here, as it could still turn out to be a false breakdown. So what we are going to be doing here as soon as price action breaks down the ascending trend line is to scale down into a lower time frame to look out for structures and patterns that insinuate that sellers are gradually gaining momentum, and this would reflect on the chart as price action retesting the trend line, or in fact we have a level around here which of course we can use to guide trading activity around that area, which falls along the $75.55 level. Now, if continued selling pressure happens here, that is signs that buyers are finding it difficult or struggling to climb back above the ascending trend line, then at this point we can now start considering selling the USOilSPOT. And for those who had sold earlier, you want to be adding more positions at the breakdown retest of that ascending trend line. So for the fact that price still remains above that ascending trend line, I'm still of the opinion that we could still have a bullish momentum or a trend continuation to the upside. But if price drops below the ascending trend line, that move is going to be very, very massive, considering the fact that today is the last trading day of the week, and it could be a sign that majority in the market are doing profit-taking activities, closing some of their positions ahead of the weekend. So let's keep this in mind, but trust me, I will be with you in the comment section of both my trading view and Telegram platforms to give you update as at when due. So these are my views here on the USOilSPOT for today. So our center of focus is simply around that $77.20, and of course the ascending trend lines we identified here. So let's see how price action will play out, and of course I will be with you in the comment sections of both on all my public platforms to give you updates as at when due. So if you do have any questions or you need further clarifications as regards to, so I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds, and as well use that time to mark it as a reference point when you're about to make your independent decisions today. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are on the same page here. So we shall be moving on to the next instrument on our watch list. All right, so the next instrument on our watch list is the GBPUSD. Another phenomenal trade on the GBPUSD we have here during the course of the week, and in fact we have been also buying the GBPUSD as we saw the dollar witness one of its most remarkable losses in the last couple of months now. And though we had some selling positions at the beginning of the week, let's quickly run through how the week started for us on the GBP USD. So on the GBP USD, the first thing we observed at the beginning of the week was how price action was initially indecisive, as we saw it restrained within the 1.28420 level and the 1.28200 area to give us a flat channel to work with. And you know how we do it in this community. As soon as price action falls into this kind of range, we want to wait patiently for either a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And with the situation we had prior to the beginning of our live session on Monday, we saw the breakdown of structure, and we agreed that we are going to be looking forward to a retest of structure to join a bearish move to the downside. And capitalizing on that move, we also add a sell stop order below the 1.2800 level to join that move to the downside. We were able to scoop a moderate size of profit on that one before the bullish momentum began. And one thing that made us not to buy as soon as price action tested the 1.275 is simply because of this descending trend line, as we were thinking that this could turn out to be a trend continuation to the downside if price action ever comes back into that trend line. But what we saw here was quite interesting. We saw the breakout of structure, and you all know are we still live? I'm trying to check. Hold on a second. I'm trying to check if I want to know if we are still live. Okay, I think we are still live. All right. So like I was saying earlier, I was saying that during our live session yesterday, we acknowledged a new setup we said we are going to be using to guide our trading activity, and that was the 1.30150 level, where we said a breakout of the structure will welcome more buy positions in this particular market. And as you can see here, price action broke out of that structure, and in fact in the last 24 hours we saw a price movement of over 120 pips in our direction. Another phenomenal opportunity there to capture and maximize the potential of this bullish move. And remember, during the prior to the New York session yesterday, I told us all that we are going to be anticipating more opportunities at the breakout of the 1.30800 level to maximize that move to the upside. So it has been quite a very profitable week for us. Let's see how many pips price action moved since the breakout of that trend line. So till this moment we have over 325 pips in profit, not to talk of the multiple entries that we had in this market. So well done to everyone who are taking advantage of all these potential opportunity during the course of the week. Well done to you guys, and let's if you still have a buy position at this point in time, I will be advising you to move all stop losses to secure this current position. And the most appropriate area, of course, I want us to give room for price action to breathe, and the most appropriate area should be around the last entry zone, which falls around the 1.30800 level. So you want to give some room. You can extend your stop loss a little bit to the downside. Let's give a little bit more room to see if price action still has a tendency of finding new highs in this particular market. So now, with a well-secured position at this juncture on the market, what is going to be our next plan for today? One, we want to consider the potentials of sellers here, considering the fact that today is the last trading day of the week and the tendency of profit-taking activity is very high, as a majority who had captured this strong bullish momentum to the upside will definitely want to be closing some of their position, which would reflect on the chart as a retracement phase. Now we are going to be looking at the possibilities on that one too, and then we're also going to be looking at the possibilities of a potential uptrend if price action breaks out of the 1.31425 level, which happens to be the highest point price action has been for this week. Now, before we go into the details here, I would like us to run through my commentary on the GBPUSD this morning. And if you are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you would have gotten this update. And let's quickly run through this for the sake of clarity, and let's see how we said we are going to be managing our positions for today. Now, this is how we have been managing our GBPUSD since the beginning of the week. And this morning, that is July 14th. Okay. All right. Okay. So this is what I said here this morning. Very simple and an apt sentence here. I said, ensure all buy positions are secured as selling pressure resumes ahead of the consumer sentiment index coming up later in the day. Now let's go back into the live chat and talk about this. So I will just zoom right into our center of focus for today, which is around this zone here. Now, one thing you would observe here is that since the later part of the New York session yesterday, we saw that as soon as price got into that 1.31425 zone, we begin to see selling pressure resume around that area. So it's a little bit of a sign that buyers are struggling around that area. Is this an illusion, or is it real that buyers are really struggling around that area, or is this a sign that we might likely be seeing a retracement anytime soon? Now, let us talk about the potentials of buyers at this particular point in time. Remember, for all of us who are still in a buy position, we have moved our stop losses to secure the current buy position, and there is a chance that price will still climb and find new highs. Now we have a level at the 1.31425, which is the resistance level right now, and the highest point price action is. Personally, for me, what I'm going to be doing here is to place a buy stop order above the 1.31425 level to capture this trend continuation to the upside. Of course, we have been very profitable so far this week, so we can still afford to leverage on some of the profit we had made so far this week to test waters around that 1.31425 level to see if the buy is going to click around that area. Now, with a buy stop order around that level, we should be having our stop losses dovetailing to about 30 pips thereabouts, right below the 1.31100 level. Let's see how far this move is going to go if price action ever breaks out of that level. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunities here, there is a chance that sellers could come in at any point in time, which could be as a result of profit-taking activities ahead of the weekend. Now, let us go back into how the week started for us here. Now, one key parameter here I want us to emphasize is that ascending trend line which supported our bullish momentum this week, and this is it right here. And as long as price action remains above that ascending trend line, you know how we do it in this community. We always want to remain bullish, looking out for more patterns that will support the idea of buying. Now, the fact here is that price still remains above the trend line, and there is a tendency of sellers coming in at some point to bring price back into the ascending trend line, where the appearance of buy pressure here could incite another wave of bullish momentum. And in fact, if that does not happen and price action drops below the ascending trend line, then at this point we want to start considering selling. Now, if we are going to be selling around this area, remember we are not jumping right into the position right away, as we will still need some confirmation to happen, because the breakdown could still turn out to be a false breakdown. So once a breakdown of that ascending trend line happens, we shall scale down into our lower time frame. It could be the 10 minutes, 5 minutes, or 15 minutes time frame to look out for confirmations and signs that buyers are finding it difficult to climb back above the ascending trend line. And this normally would reflect on the chart as price action retesting the ascending trend line multiple times, giving us continued selling pressure to give us an opportunity to join the bearish move to the downside. So this is what I'm going to be looking out for to sell the GBPUSD for today. However, for us to maximize the potential of this bearish momentum, we might as well be able to take advantage of that bearish move even before it gets to the breakdown of the ascending trend line. And one of the signs we are going to be looking out for to ensure that we're really going to be a sell move today is to start seeing lower lows and lower highs. And at this point in time, it appears we're beginning to see some lower lows, lower highs at this point, but it's still not yet visible here. Now, if we zoom into the structure, we'll begin to see something that looks like a double top structure, which from a technical standpoint is a very, very strong reversal pattern. Now, to give a visual representation of what I'm talking about here, hold on a second. We have an impulsive move that tested the 1.31425 level. Price dropped to the downside, then came back again, and the inability of price action to break above the previous high could turn out to be a reversal pattern. And with the situation we have here, we saw engulfing bearish candle bringing price to this peak here, giving us a simple reversal pattern to work with. And if you know how we do it whenever we have this reversal pattern, the next thing we want to be doing is to identify a neckline which we are going to be using to guide our trading activity, which falls exactly at a psychological level at the 1.31200 level. So you want to be marking this level out on your chart. 1.31200 level, I guess. Am I correct? Okay. So let's see if that is correct. Beautiful. So we have the 1.31200 level marked out on our chart right now. And from a technical standpoint, the confirmation of a reversal pattern will only happen if price action breaks down and retest the neckline of that structure. So let me label this one right here. So we have the breakdown retest of the structure, and look at what has been going on here in the last 3 to 4 hours now. We finally saw the breakdown of structure, and price action is back into that neckline area. Now, the question at this juncture here is, are we going to see continued selling pressure below the neckline here to give us a sign that we are going bearish on this one? Well, time will tell. We should hold on for, like, let's say 20-30 minutes thereabout, and let's see how price action will play out around this area. And if we start seeing reversal patterns like double top structures around the 1.31200 level on our lower time frame, then we definitely want to be joining a bearish move as we anticipate a breakdown of that ascending trend line. Then we could also maximize the potential of this move by adding more position if price action goes on to break down the 1.3100 area. Another psychological level we have there. So let's label this area. So this current market structure has a potential of giving us multiple entries here, which of course we want to be taking advantage of. Now let's go back to our candle chart. Now if we continue to see selling pressure below the 1.312, we join the bearish move to the downside. More opportunities at the breakdown of the 1.3080, after which price would now break down that ascending trend line for us to now add more position. In fact, if we do have a breakdown of the ascending trend line, it's definitely going to be a strong, massive move to the downside. But if we begin to see buy pressure resume above the ascending trend line, then we will be getting ready for another wave of bullish momentum. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD for today, but trust me, it might look a little bit complicated, but trust me, I will be with you in the comment section as always on both my Trading View and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. But please remember that we have a buy stop order above the 1.31425 level, as we are not negating the idea of a bullish momentum at this juncture in the market. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and trust me, I am willing and ready to be of help in that regard. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever, and you can as well use that time to mark out those levels on your chart, as you will be needing them as a reference point when you're about to make your independent decisions during the trading sessions. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page, so we shall be moving on to the next instrument because of the time frame I have left. So the next instrument on our watch list is the XAUUSD, another very profitable trade for us so far this week. And since price action has tested a new high in the last 24 hours, we have been witnessing a very long consolidation phase, which we are going to be reviewing and dissecting to identify potential trading opportunities for today. So since the beginning of this week, we have been buying this commodity. Now I think we had a new chart which we were using as a guide in the last couple of days. Okay, this is it right here. And one interesting thing about this whole structure is our price action had consistently respected our ascending trend line, and we should be grateful for this trend line, as it has been helping us to maximize the potential of this bullish move, as you can see here. And though we had a moment where price action broke down the ascending trend line, but immediately we saw price action climb above. That was right there on Monday, and since that moment price has remained above the ascending trend line. Now, for those who are taking advantage of this opportunity, of course, well done to you for being on standby to catch this move. And remember, on Wednesday also we had this phenomenal bullish engulfing candle which made us over, I think, over 300 pips we had here on this single move, as we had two positions to maximize that move. The market did not give us more than two positions here, so it's okay anyways, but congrats to you if you are taking advantage of that one. So let's run through my commentary this morning on what I said we are going to be doing for today before we dive into the details for today. So let's go into the XAUUSD. So if you are with me on my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will definitely have gotten this update. For the sake of clarity, let's run through it one more time and then go back into the live chat to decide what our next line of action will be. So this morning here, I shared this commentary. Remember, we've been in a sell position since yesterday, which has been in a loss for quite a very long time. So I said here this morning that the selling position is currently active and remains at the break-even point, as the price has been trading within a narrow range over the past 18 hours. This prolonged period of price consolidation highlights the prevailing uncertainty among market participants. Investors anticipate the release of data from the Consumer Sentiment Index, hoping to gain insight that will guide their future actions. So this is the setup here on the 1 hour time frame. So we shall be going right into the live chat to see what is really going on here. Now remember, yesterday during our XAUUSD live monitoring window, in fact, I'm very sorry for what happened yesterday on the XAUUSD live monitoring window. I shared an update as regards to what really happened. I'm still experiencing network issues on all of the platform, all of the ISPs I'm using. I don't know why, and I hope this is going to be resolved before the next week. Though I'm using a backup server now, which is not very reliable at this point in time. So as a result of this, we had an app dropped close to the live session yesterday, which was very, very unfortunate, but it's okay. Price still remains within the range we identified yesterday and is still remaining in that area, which further emphasizes the level of indecision going on at this point in time. Now if you look at the structure, this is where we sold yesterday. We sold below the $1,955.50 level, and price action went back to the upside and is still back within that area again, giving us a loss of about, let's see, how many pips loss are we witnessing right now? About 9 pips loss to 10 pips loss at this point in time, and the potential for bearish momentum still looking very promising at this point in time. Now one thing that we've observed here in the last 24 hours is quite clear, that since price action tested the $1,963.50 level, we have continued to see selling pressure around that area, negating all attempt by the buyers to break through that zone. And this for me is a clear sign that we might likely be seeing a retracement phase anytime soon, as of course those who had bought at a very cheap price at the beginning of the week will definitely want to be doing some profit taking activity ahead of the weekend, closing out some of their positions, just in case we never can tell what will happen during the course of the weekend until Monday morning. So we might likely begin to see some profit taking activities today, and of course we want to be part of that move when it finally happens. So in the last 24 hours we have been in a sell, which, as most of the part of yesterday, has been running in a loss until this morning too. We're still in a loss on this one. Now price has been caught within a range which we've just identified here, between the 1,963.50 level and the 1,955.50 level, giving us a clear insight into the indecision here. Now one thing about this structure is that it could turn out to be a trend continuation pattern, as well it could still turn out to be a reversal pattern. Now with the situation we have here and continued selling pressure around the 1,963, the chances of a breakdown of the support line is still very, very there. And if it's there, a breakdown of structure will definitely, remember we're already in a sell position, we want to continue to be in that position to ride that move all the way to the downside. And remember that we have an ascending trend line which has been supporting the bullish momentum we've been enjoying so far this week, and this ascending trend line will need to be taken into consideration even if sellers take over this market to push price to the downside. So what we are going to be doing here is, if price drops further to the downside and gets in touch with the ascending trend line right here, we'll definitely want to be moving all our stop losses to secure the current position. Of course, you know why that is. We want to see how price action will be reacting to that ascending trend line to decide what our next line of action will be. How are we going to be buying, or how are we going to be selling at that point in time? Now, one of the things we are going to be looking out for here is, if price drops below the ascending trend line, then this will be welcoming the idea of adding more sell position to our existing trade. And I'm of the opinion that if a breakdown of the ascending trend line happens today, it's going to be a very massive move to the downside, and that might likely give us a very beautiful culmination for the week. So what we want to be doing here is, as soon as the breakdown of the trend line happens, we scale down into our lower time frame to look out for confirmations that buyers will be finding it difficult to climb back above the trend line, and this would reflect on the chart as a retest of structure, coupled with some selling pressure around that area on our lower time frame to give us a confirmation of joining or adding more position to our existing trade here. So this is how we are going to be selling the XAUUSD today, but there are no structures yet along that ascending trend line which I want us to be using to guide selling opportunity there. But trust me, once the market evolves into a suitable structure, I will definitely give you updates in the comment section on both my TradingView and Telegram platform. Now, if price action gets into the ascending trend line, and instead of breaking down the ascending trend line, we begin to see buy pressure resume around this area, which of course would reflect on the chart as like a double bottom structure, any form of reversal pattern, then we are going to be looking forward to another opportunity to buy the XAUUSD. And in fact, we never can tell, the 1955 level could turn out to be the neckline of that reversal pattern to drive that move to the upside. So let's keep this in mind too as well while we continue to monitor price action around this area. At this point, I think that is what we are going to be looking out for here on the XAUUSD. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section as always. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before we move on to the last instrument for today. And you can as well use that time to mark out these levels on your chart as we continue to monitor price action. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we're on the same page. So we shall be moving on to the next instrument on our watch list. So the next instrument on our watch list is the beautiful USDJPY. On the USDJPY, I was so excited with the positions we had here. There was no headaches at all on the USDJPY as price action consistently and uniformly respected our descending channel, riding all the way, move all the way to the downside, giving us a whopping 1,300 pips in profit on this single move to the downside. So there were no issues at all as regards to the setup. Let me share with you how the week started for us on the USDJPY. So at the beginning of the week, this was what we saw here. Initially, price action started the week on a very strong bullish note as we saw buy pressure resume above our weekly key level had the 142.00 area, giving us a flat channel to work with. And you know how we do it. Whenever we have this kind of flat channel, we want to wait for price action to either break out of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or break down of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. And with our orders placed at both ends, we saw our sell stop order triggered, giving us our first sell position for the week. And since then, price action had continued to find lower lows and lower highs. Now, if you look at the structure here, interestingly, we had all these levels marked out as price action gradually pushes to the downside. So we had structures like the 141.00 level, where we also had a sell stop order to maximize the potential of that move. We also had one at the 140.240. We also had one at the 139.400, and we had one here yesterday at the 138.320 level. As you can see, price action went on to eat the TP target, had the 137.500 area for us to scoop over 1,300 pips on all multiple entries. In fact, well done to everyone who had been part of this profitable journey. So right now, we are not in any position at this point in time, as we continue to monitor how price action will be reacting to this level. Now, for the sake of clarity here, let's go through my commentary this morning as regards to what plans we have for the USDJPY for today. Now, right here on my public platforms, I shared this update here, and let's run through it quickly and see what we are looking at for today. So I stated here this morning that the price action successfully hit TP target at the 137.550 zone, resulting in a remarkable profit of over 1,300 pips. Congratulations to all those who participated in this profitable endeavor. Currently, there are signs of buy pressure emerging as sellers encounter difficulty in pushing below the 137.500 zone. Moreover, the breakout of the descending trend line, which occurred for the first time this week, suggests a potential reversal pattern in the market. We will delve into a detailed analysis of this development during our upcoming live session. So this was my chart here. This was the breakout of the descending trend line we saw this morning. So let's go back into the live chart and see what I was trying to say here. So our center of focus is right within the zone here. Now we have seen price action. The first thing we saw here is this continued buy pressure here, as we saw how selling pressure gradually reduced and it turning into something that's looking like a reversal pattern at this point in time. So for this sake here, I will be calling this area, let's call it a temporary demand zone for the sake of clarity. So I will just place this right here, and we call it a temporary demand zone for the meantime, because we never can tell if price could still break it down in the future. So in the meantime, we just call it a temporary demand zone. So I'd like to give it a white color, and then I'll give it a darker color instead. Beautiful. So we have a potential demand zone at this point. Now, coupled with that demand zone here is the breakout of that descending trend line. And this is going to be the first time price action will be breaking down that descending trend line. Remember, throughout the course of the week, that descending trend line has been negating all bullish attempts, giving us more opportunity to stack up more position for selling. Now that we have finally seen a breakout of the structure, could this be signs of profit-taking activities ahead of the weekend? Of course, these are things that we want to be looking at this point. Now, with a breakout of the descending trend line, the next thing we want to be looking out for right now is signs that buyers are taking over the market. And one of the things we are going to be looking at here, from a technical standpoint, whenever price action breaks out of a key structure just like this descending trend line here, there is a chance that price will come back and do a retest of that structure to incite another wave of bullish momentum. So this is one of the scenarios we are going to be looking at. So will selling pressure resume along the 138.320 to incite a retest of structure where we shall be looking out for buying pressure to incite another wave of bullish momentum? That is a question that will be answered over time. So as time plays out, as we continue to monitor price action, we will get to know if price action will come back and retest that level. So that is one perspective to this current structure here. Then the other perspective to this structure is if price action goes on to form a consolidation phase right within the 138.320, it will give us a clear sign of an indecision in the market as participants anticipate the consumer sentiment index coming up later today, and a breakout of that range will now determine where price action is likely going to be going. So if we do have a breakout of the resistance line of that consolidation phase, how this will be clearer on the lower time frame when it happens. We want to be getting ready to buy. Then with a buy stop order above the 138.850, we want to be thinking of adding more position to maximize that move all the way to the upside. Then at this point, we will now know that this is a profit taking activity on this instrument. However, if price drops back into the downside here, we are going to be wary of this ascending of the descending trend line, which also shares a confluence with the 137.500 area, which we have called our temporary demand zone in the meantime. So depending on what happens around that area will determine if we are going to be buying or selling. So if price drops below the 137.500 retest of structure, we want to be adding or selling the USDJPY at that point. In fact, left for me, if you would ask me, I will just stay clear of the market for this week. We've made over 1,300 pips, but if we do see something very significant that calls for our attention to take advantage of an opportunity, of course we want to take advantage of it, and definitely I will be sharing with you in the comment section of both my trading view and Telegram platform. So these are my views here on the USDJPY for today, and I hope that I made myself clear. And if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to let me know in the comment section. So I'll be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before I call it a day here. Then for the XAUUSD live monitoring window for today, I would like to share the link, which I think we already have it on our Telegram platform. Let's see. Okay, I already have it on the Telegram platform. I can as well share it here so that we can click on it, click the notify me button, so that whenever we come online, you will be notified accordingly. So I'm just having it shared in the comment section. So let's see how that goes for today. All right, so in the absence of no questions, I want to assume we are on the same page. In fact, I'm very confident that we are well equipped and ready to take advantage of any trading opportunity during the London and New York session today, as we were able to simulate all the potential scenarios that we are likely going to face, and we are well equipped enough to be able to take advantage of an opportunity when the market presents itself. But besides that, I'm always with you on my trading view and Telegram platform to give you updates as at when due. And for Richard, thank you very much for your feedbacks today. Ayodeji, I really appreciate your feedbacks and your assistance in ensuring that we have a splendid experience out here. Thank you guys. Thank you very, very much. I really do appreciate your concerns. And on this note, I would like to call it a day. And before I close today, please, if you found the content helpful and useful in making your independent trading decision for today, why not support this project and give it a thumbs up? Your likes are valuable to me, and it also helps the YouTube algorithm to push this video to a wider audience of traders who may find this material beneficial. Thank you in advance as you do so. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to follow me on this channel for more of this insightful content. By subscribing, you would always stay updated with the latest ideas I share, and of course receive notifications whenever I upload new videos and commentaries. So I look forward to seeing you during the XAUUSD live monitoring window, and of course I look forward to seeing you in the comment section of both my TradingView and Telegram platform as we continue to monitor price action. Do have a wonderful day and a very happy and merry weekend to you all. Bye bye.